Laura here, in case you didn't remember my name. My husband, behind the camera, he's recording this. You'll only hear his voice. We have recorded videos about miscarriage and abortion and also pregnancy purging. And my husband was guided that we should do another one about basically, should I have an abortion? So we're going to start discussing this topic because it is something that's been coming up and we want to make sure it is addressed. All right, honey, your turn.
You're telling me if you should have an abortion?
No, that's the question that is asked.
All right, what's wrong with you?
No, it's not me.
I'm trying to adjust the...
All right, so if the picture was blurry just now, it's because my husband is adjusting the camera.
It wasn't blurry.
Oh, okay.
I'm a good videographer.
All right.
Yeah. So now back to the question. Should someone have an abortion?
Right, should someone have an
abortion? And of course, when it says
abortion?
someone, we're talking about a female.
Right.
Because we know men can't have an abortion, at least not that we know of.
Right.
Okay. Well, to answer that question, let's let's discuss some things.
Okay.
Right? Because we're not interested in whether abortion is legal or not legal, or whether we agree if abortion should be allowed or not. This has nothing to do with that.
Right.
This is strictly from the spiritual realm's perspective, from the teachings itself, and from our experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I want to ask you here is, from your experience, right? Even before our kids were born, what was your experience as far as kids went? What was your expectation? Or what did you already know? Maybe it's a better term, a better question, with regards to our kids.
In regards to our kids?
Uh-huh. Even before we decide that, okay, let's go have kids. Well, we already knew we were going to have kids before we got married.
Right, we already knew that. They already appeared to you.
But that's the point. So, right? So how about if you share your story about that, your experience with that?
Ah, well, one day, my husband, before we were married, we were just dating, he said...
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was once you were married. Okay, go ahead.
No, this was before we got married. He told me, oh, we're going to have at least 2 kids. I said, at least 2 kids? He said, yes. I said, okay. He said, I see a boy and a girl. And he described that the boy was younger than the girl. And he told me what their names would be.
No, I said the boy was older than the girl. Not the other way around. You're describing the 2 girls. But I did say that the girls, because we're playing in my head right now.
I don't recall the story exactly, but I do know that I was given the names, what their favorite colors would be. I forgot what else they told us. Right, what they would look like, which I could not envision in my head because my husband is not a good individual who could describe things as far as how someone looks. So that was just not very clear at all because of the way my husband describes things.
Even though I said our daughter looked just like you? What is there to describe about that?
No, you initially said she'd look like our older daughter, and then you said she'd look like me, and I'm going, okay, that's kind of very different and broad, but it's all right. Once she was born, I got it. Oh, I see it now, but it's okay. What else? I don't remember what else was described. But they would come through every now and again to say hi or answer questions when I would have them.
So what were your thoughts about that?
Well, I thought that was pretty cool. I had fun with that.
You didn't question as to whether or not it was accurate, or if I was losing my mind or something?
No.
Why not?
Because anytime you've given me information from the Ascended Masters or one of the angels, it's always been super accurate, and I know it's accurate because it happened.
Oh, so this was by then...
By then I'd already had many experiences.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't question this at all.
Got it. Now, we had the experience with our 2 daughters, the 2 younger ones. Mm-hmm. How about that? How about if you share that?
Well, with our 2 younger daughters, they were supposed to be born together as twins. But the youngest one decided to back out. Why? Because if I remember correctly, she didn't feel she would get as much love, and she knew she'd have some health issues, and she thought she'd be a burden. So she decided not to be born. But she was still hanging around, so we talked with her, and...
No, you did.
I continued to talk to her. So listen, don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. God always provides. We're always taken care of. And she came.
Okay. So now and this is before they were even born. This is even before you became pregnant.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. And these souls are communicating with you.
Yes.
Then they were born.
Mm-hmm.
How did that materialize? Did they look the way they were described? Were the behavior similar to the way they were described?
The behavior was similar. The colors that they liked were the exact colors. They told us what their names wanted to be and what they wanted to be called. And so all of that was accurate. As far as how they looked, though, like I said, my husband was not very good with description. So I could not get a visual in my head as to what these kids would look like. But once they were born, I'm like, oh, that's what you mean by she'll look like this one. Or that's what you mean he'll look like that. Okay, it will all fit together then. But yes, it was spot on.
So here's a question I have for you. So imagine now that you became pregnant and you decided, or we decided, nah, we're not ready for any kids. And we decide to have an abortion.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about that? Knowing the experience you had before you got pregnant and the experience you had after they were born, as far as how the information matched. What does that tell you about the soul?
If I chose to abort this soul who had been coming through and talking to me,
Yes.
I would not have done it.
But why?
Because I already formed a connection with that child. I already had a relationship.
But the child wasn't even born yet.
Okay.
I thought part of the issue about abortion is, well, if it's just a fetus, then it doesn't really exist yet. It hasn't been born yet. So you could
they exist.
have the abortion.
No, every body has a soul ready for it. So as soon as that conception takes place, there's a soul ready to occupy that body.
But how do you know that?
Based on the teachings from
Now forget about the
what
teachings.
I've learned.
That's why I use the experience. The experience that you had. Let's just focus on the experience.
Because these souls were already there, and I wasn't even pregnant yet. They were already there, waiting to be born. They already chose me and you to be their parents for whatever we need to work on together and to be able to help them with their journey here on earth.
Now, how do you know that they chose you?
Because we were already together and they were calling me mom when you delivered the messages to me.
Okay. Now, for someone listening to this might sound really strange, right?
Right.
But here you are. You haven't even, I remember the priest telling us that, how was it, like a week or two after we got married? And we went to church. And then he asked us if we had, what did he ask us? See, that's a very private question, by the way.
It is, and I don't even remember it. Maybe because it was too private, I blocked it out.
No, I remember, well, the point was he was asking us if we'd already
consummated the marriage.
There we go, consummated the marriage. And I looked at her and said, what does he mean by that?
Even your uncle.
I know.
Who was a brother with the Catholic Church.
Right? And at that point, we hadn't done anything yet. Because he was just
when do you plan on starting this family?
Right. We had been friends for so long, it just felt weird doing that. And it had been 2 weeks since we had been married. And then he said, your marriage is not official. You don't really have a marriage until you've consummated it. And they would be like, oh, okay, I guess we better get to work here. Anyway, so even 2 weeks into our marriage, we hadn't done anything, right?
Right.
Well, from that.
Now that might confuse people. They might be thinking, what the heck were you two doing? We were really busy. We owned a business.
we always kissed and things like that. And
yes.
And they chased me around the house. The other stuff no, it's not that we were busy. It just felt weird.
It did feel weird, but we were also really busy with all the family that had come to town, making sure everybody got to the airport and everything. It was a whole lot of.
No, it just felt weird to me.
Well, for me, I was exhausted.
Oh, okay.
I was so
So
busy.
between the weird feeling and exhaustion, it wasn't going to work.
Right.
Anyway, so then, so even after 2 weeks into our marriage, we hadn't done anything. But yet still, you know that the souls were there waiting to be born, right?
Yes.
So just knowing that alone and then choosing to abort a pregnancy, you could see, well, as you said earlier, you could see where I guess it does affect the soul that's waiting. That's the bottom. I don't know how else to put it.
Right. It would. It does.
So that's us.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had other experiences with individuals in similar situations?
Yes.
Okay. You want to share one without sharing names or anything? Another one?
We're talking strictly abortions here.
No, not abortions. About souls that
souls?
came in before they were born, or you know.
Well, okay. I can't say that I know of any that came through that wanted to be born, but the parents chose not to have.
No, I'm
them
not
be
talking
born.
about that. I'm not talking about parents not choosing. I'm just saying that the souls communicated before they were born. That's it. You're making it too complicated.
Yeah, I'm not
Similar to
thinking
your
of any.
situation, we've had other individuals where their child communicated with them before the child was born. That's it. You don't know of any.
Well, I'm only thinking of one, but the child came in after the parents knew that they were expecting.
I know of at least one. We have a couple in California.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, that's only one. But what do you mean? But the child came in and started communicating is a point.
Okay.
That's
I
the
thought you were
point
talking
I'm
about,
making.
but before, there was conception or anything.
It could be before, but then the point is that the child is there. I mean, that was early. No, that was even before they found out that they were pregnant.
Before they found out they were expecting.
Exactly.
Right.
The soul was already communicating.
Right, before they found out, but
Exactly.
it was already taking place, right?
Mo, that's what I'm saying. So they didn't even know
Right.
that the wife was
Expecting.
pregnant. But the soul confirmed, and even confirmed, I'm a male, and I'm your son. Is the point. You want to share that? Because that's another one where, imagine, well, go ahead. What do you know about that one?
I know that they were struggling to have a child, and some work was being done to help them, and you were guided to have a call with them, and when you did, that's when this young boy came through saying, yes, I'm going to be your child. And they were surprised, and I think it was maybe a week later or a few days later that they found, oh yeah, we are expecting. It's what they wanted, but they were totally shocked after years of trying and not having any success.
So the reason why I ask about that one, again, in a sense, is because, not in a sense, it's because it's the same situation. The soul is there, right? The soul is communicating with them,
Right.
even though they don't know they're pregnant, but the soul is saying, I'm coming. Imagine if they decided, well, we're not ready for a child. And they go abort the child.
Yeah, that would.
Are they getting rid of a soul, or is it not a big deal because it's just a fetus that's maybe a few weeks old?
Oh no, they're.
That's the point I want to cover.
It's not even just the physical body part at this point for me. It's more the soul is there, the soul is ready, and they chose you. And if you're ready, if you're not ready, it's one thing to say, we're not ready, could you just come back another time? But to just say, nah, we don't want to do it now, let's just stop until we think we're ready. And then you abort it. I mean, I think like in the video recorded about miscarriages and abortions, if you know that child is ready, and you find out you're pregnant, you can still talk to that soul to change things. I don't think you necessarily have to go and have an abortion. I mean, because something can always be worked out.
So back to my question, is it okay, you think, from a mother's perspective or even a father's perspective, after communicating with the soul, is it okay, you think, for them to go ahead from the soul standpoint to have an abortion?
From the soul standpoint, no, because that soul is ready.
And they've been communicating with you this whole time,
yes. Right? And they've been telling you, this is what I'm looking forward to with you, this is what I expect. Because even before this couple, I mean, when we found out friends of ours were expecting, their baby immediately within, the first trimester there came through and was already saying, well, this is what I want, this is how I want this, and already communicating. Even our own grandchild did the same thing. So.
And when they come through, they always tell you what they want their name to be, right?
In the case of our granddaughter, what color she wants her bedroom to be painted. It was very specific, the color. And our daughter was going to different places to get different swatches of cloth and paint. Right. And she's like, is this the color? Is this the color? Right. And finally, I don't know how many she'd gone through, my husband says, oh yes, your daughter likes that one. Use that one. It's the most unique experience I've had yet.
Well, I don't think that's as unique as when she said, and my brother.
Oh, yes. My brother is going to be ready to come soon. Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it was very specific. Her brother.
My brother.
And she wanted her brother to be named, or her brother wanted to be named.
The same as their dad.
And she said this, and she was very specific. It will be, at least 2 years after she was born, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least 2 years. And... well, we won't say anything else about that. All we know is
just know that they still communicate with us.
Exactly. All right, but that's how specific it gets.
Yes.
And we've had other individuals. I mean.
Yes, we've even been. We were at one of my family members' celebrations, and there was a individual there who was expecting. It was early on, and I don't even know that they had told the family and friends. But my husband came to me and said, well, I don't know how we're supposed to do this, but their baby is here and she wants them to name her this name. And he gave me the name and I was like, oh. I'm like, well, I don't know how to explain that because of their belief system. But, souls just find their way and make sure they come through.
Right, they do. And someone's asking this question, well, how do you know what they want to be named? They will find a way to get it to you. Mm-hmm. Now, that you don't have to worry about. So many people go through baby name books or whatever they're called. These books with
baby books. Mm-hmm.
And they think that they're naming their child. Just so you know, you don't name your child. Your child already has his or her name chosen, mm-hmm. and they get the message to you as to what they want to be named.
Yes.
Now, someone's also asking, well, but what if I give them the wrong name? If that were to happen, I've seen situations where that name is changed later in life. Mm-hmm. It gets resolved. So I wouldn't spend too much time on it and getting too worried about, did I give my child the right name? It always gets resolved, okay?
Indeed.
Just let you know. Now, and then for those of you that are asking the question, well, how about me? I changed my name when I was old. Does that mean that I got the wrong name? Not necessarily so. It could simply mean that you wanted to change your name. We can always check. If you check with us, if you let us know, we can check to see if you have the name you were supposed to have. If you change your name. I don't mean from marriage. You actually change your name because you felt you should change it. You just something else?
Yes, I was going to ask because the question just came into my head. Should I have an abortion is the question. What about if I was raped?
If I were
raped.
Uh-huh.
And then I become pregnant.
Right.
Shouldn't I go and have an abortion? I mean, someone took advantage of me, and now I'm expecting this child for that person.
That's up to the person, right? Again, we're not saying that it's right or wrong.
But is that soul still there?
Of course the soul is there.
Did that soul want to be born under those circumstances?
More than likely.
So there's a reason why that took place then.
Right. We're not saying that rape is a good thing.
Right. Okay? Not at all.
But it's always karmic. Things are always karmic. So it goes back to why did that happen to that individual. They've had individuals that got raped and didn't get pregnant. Mm-hmm. Why did they not get pregnant? right? And then why do some people get pregnant? Because it's all karmic. So then we go back to the question, why did it happen? You might not know why, but just know that in the universe itself, there are many things that we don't understand. But we shouldn't beat ourselves up for it. The question is, how do we rebound from it? So if the individual feels that the best thing to do is to have an abortion and they can live with it, then I guess that's their choice.
Right. It's your free will.
It goes back to what you said. There's also the option of where someone can actually speak to the soul and say, listen, you know the conditions where the
circumstances of the situation.
How this came about, and this is not something I really want. I'm not ready for it. You're not ready for this. You should not be born into this type of environment or because of this situation.
Right.
So how about if we just agree to terminate this pregnancy and let's discuss when you should come back. And I know it sounds simple, but it does work.
Yes.
And that's how a miscarriage will take place and the pregnancy is terminated. There is no abortion, and you can start over, both of you. And because it was something that was agreed on, then there is no negative energy there, because it can affect the female as far as her reproductive organs or her health.
Right.
And that's the one thing we're trying to avoid, because people don't talk about that aspect. They tell you can have an abortion, but they don't talk about how it affects you, the individual.
On a physical level or spiritual level.
Exactly.
Right, and the most important is that spiritual level.
Okay, and it's really important to think about that. And again, only the individual that's in that situation can make that decision. And it's a tough decision to make.
Oh, indeed.
But we hope that the information in this video will help. Because even though you might not be able to hear what that soul is saying, they do communicate with you, and they do their best to do so. And if somebody is expecting a child and you want to find out if we can communicate with the child, get in touch with us and we'll see. We're not going to guarantee anything, but we know that in many cases we've been able to do so and get you information that you'll find very helpful. Like their favorite food,
or what foods you should avoid during your pregnancy.
Right.
We've had that come up a lot.
Especially what foods you should avoid during pregnancy. I know with the one mom, I remember I said, what is it you're eating that's red and it's spicy? And she laughed and she was eating what?
Some kind of chips.
Yeah, right, but a spicy one.
Yes.
Whatever it was.
I don't remember what it was exactly.
And she was cracking up. I said, no, don't eat that any longer. He doesn't like that. And she had to stop. So I think it's a great thing. I don't know about you.
No, I think it's wonderful. When you know that is out there and that can be done to help you, I find it to be a blessing.
Okay.
All right. If you found this video helpful, you think it can help someone else, please remember to share it. Subscribe to our channel, like the video, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram and our website. All of them are 190 Vision. Our website is 190vision.com. See you soon.